Hi, this is Davey J. Fielding, Zordon from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and you're watching Action Activate!
What's going on? It is me, Gazbot, for Action Activate. And if I am Gazbot, adjusting my camera, and this is Action Activate, then with me, as always, is this man.
It is I. It is the big dog, ready to talk about Mystic Force because I have seen the light.
Woo! Me too. Episode 24, the light.
And it was blinding with inconsistency.
You revved up like a deuce on a Saturday night, or however that song goes.
Something. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
I don't think that's the same song, but
it's same but different. But
okay, so your first impression is that it has tons of inconsistencies.
Yeah, it's a random like Frankenstein of an episode.
Maybe, but my general impression is I liked it.
Good.
I'm not saying it's amazing and how dare you besmirch it, but I was very concerned coming off of like the mid-season thing and like a lot of like good plot stuff and a lot of important, relevant things that we were going to go back to like a random monster of the week or a goofy side adventure that had nothing to do with anything. And it didn't. It's like back in the meat of stuff. So I was just happy about that, to be honest.
What I will say, full transparency, we've watched 24 and 25.
Yes.
So I have a feeling, because I fully acknowledge it on my end. I don't know if you've thought about it on your end. I like 24 more with the context of 25, which I feel like you may have that as well.
No. I like 24 better than 25, generally speaking.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get into 25. But I like 25. I don't know if I like 24 less after 25, but it didn't make me like it more.
We'll get into why for me. But anyway, so we're starting off. There's that unicorn Zord that is definitely a remold. That's fine with us. Keep on keeping up. Bruce Kalish, thanks for the explosions. Necroli going around with her daughter looking for a magic book. This scene was very interesting. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm just surprised it played out the way it did.
With her daughter being like, I just want to make friends and I'm done with this evil stuff. And that
part didn't surprise me. It's when she's like, Mom, like I'm leaving. And Necroli's like, doop-a-doo, I'm going to use this fortune book. And just essentially let her daughter leave. And that was that.
That was fine because she was distracted by the power. And like, she's not worried about her daughter doing anything against her. She like kind of seems to barely care about her. So that didn't bother me. This is a little bit spoilery. She gets this book and she's like, it's the book of prophecy and it says what'll happen and I'm going to fall in this pit and whatever. And she's all blinded by the power of the book. But the rest of the episode, we never see the book. Yeah. And spoilers, the next episode, we don't see the book. So it's like, she was sort of like, I've given up on taking over the world. It's over. You're right. Wait, this book is the key to everything. And then it's like gone and nobody cares.
All right. Here's our inconsistency counter. Number 1.
Okay. I mean, maybe it'll come back and like the episode after next where she's like, I've been hiding this book or something, but
maybe. Yeah, but Book of Prophecy, she gives the ultimatum like, hey, I'm leaving. And she's like, no, like I'm really leaving. She's like, so there's this hole I'm going to fall into.
And then she falls into it. Yeah.
What'd you think of this subplot?
I thought it was inoffensive is the best way I'll put it. I think it didn't make her a terrible person like they normally do. She was just feeling she doesn't do enough. The only downside at the end of the episode, it kind of resolves because she steps up and does something and saves the team. It's one of those things like imposter syndrome. It's probably a lot in her head and everyone's like, you're fine. And I was fine with it. It was completely inoffensive. Didn't bother me at all.
As the episode went on, I didn't dislike this as much. Initially, I was like, are we spending this whole episode with them trying to convince her that she's important to the team? And then I was like, for something that you made seem like it was a big deal in the beginning, it really only had like 3 scenes in the whole episode, which to me was weird, but whatever.
I was fine with that.
Yeah, to me, like I said, it was a Frankenstein of an episode because I'm like, oh, Necroli's going to do this thing with this book. Didn't mean anything. Oh, Blue Ranger's got imposter syndrome. It's going to cost him some. Didn't really mean anything either. Like, it was just.
But, okay, there is a lot going on. There's a bit of Frankenstein. But think of how many times we've complained about somebody randomly becoming a jerk or just, like, doing crazy things that make no sense. And I like that it was, like, a reasonable thing to be concerned about. And it didn't make her flip out and quit the team. It didn't make her be like, she just was like, oh, I'm doubting myself. No, don't doubt yourself. You're right. I'm okay. And it was like, it was fine. It didn't ruin anybody's character development. Nobody was way out of character. It was, that's what I'm saying. Like, compared to what we've had this season, it was A+ compared to what we had this season.
I also like how them addressing this was the same energy as the last season. Like, no, stop it. You're cool. And like, that was it. It was just like, stop being doubtful.
What did you think about this scene with their boss making a joke about how he never sees them? And then
the whole subplot of that, I just gave up on a long time ago. It's whatever.
Well, I like that he called them out for never being there. Like the most he ever has.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to call him Nick because I think that's his real name. What's Yellow's name in the show? Yellow Ranger. Yellow Ranger is like, well, we're the Power Rangers, and he doesn't believe it. And that's always a funny trope where it's like, I told him the truth, he just didn't believe it. Overall, I thought the humor was pretty decent in this episode, some good jokes and stuff. And also, in this conversation, one of the Rangers says, oh, there's a perfectly good explanation for that, which was not a reference to Megaforce, because Megaforce comes years later.
It predated it, yeah.
Now, did Megaforce, were they actually referencing this scene, which would make sense because it's anniversary season, blah, 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 or did they just get lucky?
I think they just got lucky.
But I still noticed it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this scene, again, was at the end, I have a feeling they're going to have him find out, and then he's going to be like, oh, it makes sense. It's like, see, I told you. Ha, ha, ha. Cut to black. I
would like it if he knew all along. Like, the fan theory that Ernie from Mighty Morphin era knew that they were the Rangers all along. I would like it if he knew all along. And even here,
because they've proved multiple episodes that he legit didn't know.
In this?
Yes.
How have they proved it?
Because there's been a thing where he's like almost found out or tried to call him on it, and then immediately like gone another way of like trying to figure out what they do. I don't remember the episodes, but it's been a thing where like he doesn't
I know what you're saying, but if he knows but is willfully ignorant and keeping up the facade for them as well. Like, oh, I know, like, it must be recycling day. It does that on purpose to like take the heat off of them.
I don't think that. No, not at all.
I like the closed captioning here. I don't know what was being said, but it's like looks like it's saying a curse word.
Yeah, F the truth is hardest. So now we're back at base. Claire is still around.
Oh, they're doing the thing with Fireheart. Yeah, Claire's just there.
Yeah.
But Fireheart's like training and eating fried oats and whatever. And then Udana comes out and gives this speech where she's like, oh, and Tin Man, you had a heart all along, and tells them all what's great about all of them. They're like, are you leaving? And it's like, yeah, I'm leaving. And I have to go by myself because reasons, and I have no magic, and somehow I'm going to go save Bowen, and goodbye.
And I'm not going to take my son because plot reasons.
He's needed here. Well, honestly, it would make more sense if she took Claire and or Daggeron and left Nick there to like lead the team. But she's like, no, I'm going by myself. I'm the least powerful person here, and yet I need to go do this.
Yeah. All this, sure, whatever. Udana hasn't been inconsistent per se, but her just very. Every time she comes on, I don't know what we're going to get. And this was the most like, oh, okay, cool.
I love how you're like, she hasn't been inconsistent, but every time she comes on, I don't know what I'm going to get. Isn't that inconsistent?
Yes and no. Because for the most of the show, she's been consistent. And then the last like 2 or 3 parter we had, it was like consistent, weird inconsistency for stuff that doesn't matter. Consistent. So that's why I'm like, ever since then, I'm like, are we still going back to consistent, or are we on our inconsistent path? Like, that's where I'm
fair.
unsure.
Well, and I think it's going to be one of those things where she believed in her soul, and like the magic to save him is because of their love bond. There'd probably be some reason. Yeah. It's also like, why not just say that? Why not just
simple explanation?
Yeah. But then we go back to Vampirina here. She lands in this pit of the 10 terrors, which made me think of the beasts. What was it? The Berserker beasts or whatever. It's like,
Something like that. I thought they were them at first too.
yeah, but it's like, oh, this is a different chamber of super powerful. I did think it was cool that they were all there in their huge form and they're like, look how tiny you are. Like that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Again, I didn't like this scene confused me because I'm like, oh, what are these guys doing here? Why didn't we not hear about them? B, okay, so why are they not doing something significant?
Yeah, and it was unclear. Did she just stumble into a cave where they've been hanging out, or did she break a seal? But it seemed like it broke just by her tripping.
Seems like she stumbled in, is what it seemed like.
But then they were just sort of hanging around waiting, like it's not time yet. And then she's like, "Oh, we found the light," and they're like, "Oh, okay, time to go." Like they were just waiting for that the whole time. It was a little weird.
This is inconsistency number 2 because also anybody who's playing the Power Ranger Mighty Force game, this serpent lady, I think it's Serpentina is her name. I thought she was from Mighty Morphin, but apparently she's from Mystic Force. So fun times there.
I do like that the address they're talking about the Master. And then it said like, oh, maybe the Master wasn't so good, but they say, oh, he was not completely revived, which we kind of knew that he'd come back more powerful. But I like that they addressed like, yeah, they didn't beat the Master really. It was like this half powerful version of him.
Yeah. Which again, I'm like, yeah, of course, sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it needed. Well, it didn't need to be said. I like that it was said. It is interesting. I like how. Hold on a second. Is this the part where he? Oh, they leave. Yeah, and he's like, "Too good to be true that you're all here," and then they immediately disappear.
Yeah,
because this is going on in the city. This was wild, where they just appear. That the 10 terrors they call themselves. What's this?
Number 3, inconsistency. Okay. Number 3,
which is.
This whole scene is weird.
Is it weird because they step outside of work to see what's going on, and he doesn't go, "Whoa, that's crazy outside that everybody could see." And now I understand why you left. Is that what you mean?
That is inconsistent. They like everything is crazy sped up for no reason in this scene. Where like these guys show up, they immediately go into a Megazord and then do their ultimate attack immediately. It gets flailed, they get one tapped and then instantly demorph, and then these guys leave.
I took it as showing these are the new big bad. This is like, hey, you know, all those power-ups you got like throughout the rest of the season, worthless now. You're less powerful than you ever were compared to these guys. And I mean, it is what it is. I don't love that, but that's a Power Rangers thing. They have to have the new, stronger, bad characters so that, you know.
I get that. But as we've already seen with the Master, we've had hints of the Master's power, but it's not his final form and he hasn't been out here. All of these guys showed up. One of them one-tapped everybody and then they went, okay, bye. Like, you know.
See, that to me isn't the problem. To me, the problem is the entire city went dark. Like a Aztec temple steps appeared and 10 Megazord-sized monsters showed up, and like then the rest of the city just keeps going on as normal. Like everybody should be running in the streets. Like they have to show people running in the scene a little bit, but it's like this is like a nuclear bomb going off in the city. Like this should be all anybody is talking about for the rest of the show. Like even if they don't know what's going on. Like
I keep getting this ad too. Everything about that scene frustrated me because again, it's the inconsistency of like, what are we doing? Are these omnipotent monsters that can beat everybody, or are they not? Or what are we doing? Like, I don't.
That is what they're doing.
Korag had the honor out. That's the whole time. Every time Korag could beat him, it was like 19 times. He was like, I can't fight you because of honor, and then he's secretly good, whatever. There was no explanation for this of why they showed up, one-tapped everybody and left. If you can interact with them and fight, then you can interact with them and kill them. I don't get this whole, like, halvesy thing.
So your complaint is, why didn't they just destroy the Power Rangers right there?
Yeah, if all 10 of them showed up, yes.
Yes, no, they absolutely could. Power-wise, not even a contest. And I'm not saying this is good or bad. I'm just explaining, as I understand it, is that they want the light. And the light, I guess, is the Red Ranger. I don't know if they said this. Like the monsters knew this. I don't think the Rangers knew it at this point. And at this time, they're like, surrender the Red Ranger, surrender the light. You have however much time, and then we're going to start wrecking everything because everyone that's against dark magic must be punished, whatever. That's a trope. It's a dopey trope. But later, they talk about all these special rules they have to follow and like the balance.
But that's the thing. They go into the rules next episode. So I'm taking all of that out of this review.
Okay, well, they go into it a little bit here, and I'll say this even. I don't even love that, but they do explain it. You know
The rules are dumb. They don't talk about the rules until the next one. This one,
no,
I don't believe.
about the rules in this one.
Okay, well,
more in the next one. So here he is playing with the CGI Fireheart dragon. Yeah, whatever. I don't care about this dragon at all. And then here comes
best character in the show these last 2 episodes. He's just
got a lot to say.
he's the most helpful. He's the most consistent. He gives the most lore dump in a very understandable way.
Yes.
More Phineas, please.
Yeah. More Phineas, but also more Genji.
Yeah, Genji's cool too, but I know Genji is restricted due to Sentai. Phineas is not.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Ninja Steel.
He's talking about, you're thinking about your father. Why would you think about him? He's like, oh, just because he saved the world 3 times. It kind of sounds like Beetlejuice when I talk like him. Hey, how you doing? Think of my father? Oh, Beetlejuice. Did you see the new Beetlejuice movie?
I haven't yet. I heard it's pretty good though.
Yeah.
For this scene, I actually really liked him poking a Nick of like, what are you doing? Nothing. Oh, not thinking about your dad, right? Dad was really important, has all this power. So here's another thing that really frustrates me about the whole Bowen thing.
Yeah.
Or not Bowen. What's Korag's human name?
Bowen. No.
Liam Bow.
Sorry, I said Bowen before.
Yeah. Half of this season, I guess a quarter of this season now, there was a huge plot point of them having some mind meld together.
Right.
And then it's like, we have to find him. It's like, well, I guess I won't reach out mentally anymore.
Yeah. Convenient plot point. I took it as the mind meld was because the part of him that was still good was searching out, but now that he's like good,
now that he's good and out in the world, supposedly he's not searching anymore. He's living in a hole.
Yeah, that's difficult to. Although it was always kind of inconsistent, even when it was happening. But you think,
but we think that's because of Korag. Korag was the one who reached out for it.
But but I'm thinking it could still.
No, Nick reached out too. Yeah, it's just inconsistent. It's dumb.
It could still be inconsistent, but he could be like, "Oh, I had a feeling, kind of like that feeling I used to have with Korag, or something like that," just to like make it.
No, because I remember one of the times he's like, "Korag, I'm ready to fight you because you challenged me to a duel." Like,
no, it was inconsistent went both ways. I'm agreeing with all that, but I'm saying now, even if they keep it weird and vague and inconsistent, they could just have Nick being like, "Oh, what is it? I don't know. I felt like a weird feeling, like I used to feel with Korag," just to like establish that yes, his father's alive, but it's not like really connecting.
But when his mom went on her solo quest, he didn't even bring it up one time.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Thank you.
Yes, some inconsistency. But
yeah,
now he knows, oh, you're the baby because the powerful wizard and and that's the dark side fears you because you're the one that could really destroy them. I shouldn't have sewed that hole in my underpants if you're not going to stand up for things. And then we go back here, and now there's the stone selection. So the stone chooses one of the 10 terrors to, I guess, represent evil. Uh-oh, we lost the big dog. Chooses one of them to represent evil and go into the world in some way, shape, or form, which we then find out is to like get the light and fight the Power Rangers and all that stuff. The Stone of Judgment, show us who is to be chosen, and it basically makes them, well, I was saying it makes them grow, but they're already big. So I guess it just sends them to the world. They seem to be able to grow and shrink on command. As they choose. Oh, here's the big dog. Hello, sir.
Sorry. Yeah, I everything about this I don't fully get, but whatever.
You heard everything I was saying?
I heard most of what you were saying.
Okay. Well, I was just talking about like the stone chooses them, but also in addition to that, they seem to just be able to grow and shrink as they see fit without any, real mechanism other than they have that power. So then here comes the flame.
Oh yeah, the lava guy. Yeah, he was cool aesthetically.
Most of them are cool aesthetically. I agree with that. And this sort of look cool, but so he's fighting Solaris Knight and he gets wrecked. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, just to be fair, I'll shrink to your size. Now,
again, inconsistent makes no sense.
Inconsistent might not be the right word. Makes no sense. I agree. Later on in the next episode, and maybe, again, we're on 24. We're talking about 25 because we watched it. Maybe 26, it expands it more. These rules, does everything have to be fair? Is it some weird Korag thing that they're just phrasing a different way? Because there's no reason he had to get small unless it's just like that thing of like, this is no fun if it's not a challenge. Like he beat him in the Megazord. Now he's going to get small. Why? I don't exactly know.
Yeah.
And then he gets beat again, basically. He's like, your laser lance has no effect on me. Then they show up and they get wrecked, all 5 of the Mystic Force Rangers.
Yeah.
There's no contest. And then he starts. Was this the part where he starts getting fired? No.
Oh yeah, I don't remember if it was here or after he like makes a contest with them.
Yeah, it's after, because here it's one of those things like, oh, I'll deal with you later first, and that is inconsistent and weird, but that is every Rangers villain ever. So fine, whatever. So they get back and they're like, yeah, he wrecked us. Why? What are we supposed to do? And it's just
they're like, we're Power Rangers, we have to fight him. Like.
Yeah, and it is a trope we see all the time where they have to power reset. But I liked that they're just going into it. Like, I really, really thought we were going to get a bunch of boring filler episodes. And so even though this isn't perfect, I give them credit for just keeping it rolling with like consequential things happening in the show. No,
I agree. No, I mean, this part I didn't have a problem with. They have an adversary. They all rally, hoorah, rah. And then, like, they go from there.
Yeah, they got to rally together. Daggeron pulls them together. This is the part where he's like, okay, volcanic punish. I like this guy too. The like lizard.
He is interesting.
He's cool looking. So he's getting all fired up, and her name's not Vampirina, but I've been watching Vampirina. So Vampirina's like, he's hot. It's like, that's a dumb joke, but fine. Like all the jokes are kind of dumb, but like landed in this episode for me. So he's like, who dares? And it's like, we dare. And like, he's like, okay. But this is the part. He goes, to make this interesting, let's say we play a little game. And basically,
the game part makes no sense to me. But I gotta go run and do something. Gaz, you take care of this real quick.
So basically, he says, we're gonna do this game. I know I can defeat all of you easily because I've been doing it the entire episode, but I'm gonna start this fire thing going. And if even one of you is still standing before that's done, or when that's done, you win. And if not, I win. And it's like, why would he do that? Again, just like putting weird conditions on himself, deciding like it's fun, which is all fine and fine and good. And you see villains do this all the time, except we find out later that like he is beholden to these rules that he made. Kind of like, like the demon makes a deal or the devil makes a deal. Like, oh, you somehow beat me, but I have to honor my word. Except he made it for no reason. He could have easily won, put this little deal in place. And this is where Blue is like, no, we have to stick together and keep trying. And she, Madison's, kind of like proving her worth, which is what she was worried about before, even though she didn't really need to do it. So they make the Manticore Megazord and they attack him. And he's like, check it out. You should know by now, these attacks don't work on me. But then they said, yeah, the Rangers, the game is over. And he's like, what? Oh no, my heat's fading. So basically he was winning. They made the Megazord. He was winning. He was going to win everything. But because of the little game he said, they managed to delay him long enough that they weren't defeated yet. And he loses. So he like defeated himself by making up a weird game that he then lost, that he didn't need to make. Now, again, we learn more that they have to follow these rules. This is where I was saying to the big dog, they do talk about the rules here because the other villains are like, oh yeah, if he doesn't follow the rules, like he has to follow them. He said it, so he loses because he said it. But they don't say he shouldn't have said that or anything. So they explain later that there's this balance of darkness and you got to follow the rules. Otherwise bad things happen and they could all be banished and blah, blah, blah. Fine. But why do we have to make the game? Is that part of the rules or is that just him being foolish and making up rules that he didn't need to? And that's the part I don't know. But he gets defeated. He's like, there's 9 other terrors to defeat. So even though we knew that, now they knew that. I do like the design on this guy. I don't know what he's supposed to be. Like, I want to see he's not a bat. He's got bat-like aspects. I don't know what he is. We're talking about the Master returning. This is all part of, they have to follow these rules as part of the Master returning, I guess, at full power. Maybe that's the problem. They didn't follow but what rules last time? Well, as the big dog would say, inconsistent. I don't know if that was 5 or whatever. All this being said, I still did enjoy this episode. We're getting towards the end of the episode. I'm going to see if Big Dog will be coming back soon, but they're kind of saying like, oh, good job, Madison. You're part of the team and blah, 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 blah. Now they get back to the store and their boss is once again like, hey, you all left all at once again. That's unacceptable. And they're like, we're sorry. And he's like, apology, not accept. Oh, actually, before I get into this, one thing I wanted to say, I was glad that they weren't able to defeat the terror beast, or wait, the terror, whatever his name was. Because they had established that their Megazord was ineffective. They'd established that their weapons were ineffective. And if for some reason suddenly, because she's like, come on, team, they were able to beat him with brute force, that would have been really annoying. And we've seen that before in this episode. So they're like, no, you still can't beat me. And they beat him through this other means. So even though it was silly, I'm glad they beat him through this other means. What worried me is like, are these terrors all going to be too powerful to beat and then just make up weird games that they can't win and then self-destruct? Like, I hope that's not where we're going for the next 10 monsters. But I am glad that they didn't just suddenly be able to beat them because they shouldn't have been able to. So yeah, they get back here and he doesn't accept their apology. And he's like, look, I hired a new employee and it's Lily, I think is her name. And they're like, they don't want to say anything because then she'll out them as Power Rangers. And so they're not going to out her as a demon, which seems weird because, I mean, like, if she's dangerous and evil, shouldn't they forego their secret identity to protect people? But I guess she hasn't really done anything that bad, and they're maybe giving her the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. I like a good villain turned anti-hero, comic relief hero, so I don't mind it. But I do think it's a problem. And this is something I said before, where there's 5 employees at this store that can't be doing that much money, and they're never there. They're always on shift at the same time. He's fed up that they're leaving. So his solution is to hire someone new in addition to them. So now he has 6 employees. If he doesn't know they're the Power Rangers, makes no sense. If later on it's revealed that he does know they're the Power Rangers, I love it. I'm vindicated because he's like, well, I need someone to help me, and you're the Power Ranger. So what are you going to do? And then we cut to Udana, and she thinks somebody's out there. So who's there? And we don't see anything, not even a hint of what it is. We just know that she thinks something's there. And then that, my friends, is the end of the episode. I'm going to give the big dog a minute to see if he comes back to say goodbye. We're supposed to record another episode after this because he's going to be away next week, and we'll have one banked. I don't know if that's going to happen now. And if you're watching this in the future, just watching all the Mystic Force episodes, then it doesn't matter. But if you're watching this in real time, if he doesn't come back and we don't record another episode, I have some interviews I got to edit. That'll give me time to edit an interview, or I'll put something up of myself. There'll be an episode the following week. It may or may not have the big dog and Mystic Force. But until next week, I have been Gazbot. I have a private chat. What did he say? Okay. I've been Gazbot. He has been the Big Dog Defender and to the power. And I'm going to put the end credits on. Normally I can do, I'm looking at other things. Banners, brand. Okay, here come the end credits and go. See, he's Wolverine, but with Ghost Rider power. So he's got flame claws, and the fire coming out of his skull kind of looks like the Wolverine hair or wings, but it's a metal adamantium skull. It's stupid. I love it. And the end.